Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Val Evans, and welcome to my weekend pool party. It has been a weekend. We're still doing the pool party. I'm speechless. It has been a tough weekend for a lot of people, shocking to Americans. When a lone shooter, it seems, took aim at ex-President Donald Trump. I believe he was 20 years old, tried to assassinate him, and it was at a rally yesterday. So spectators noticed him acting strangely. That is the shooter outside the campaign event. And there were spectators that sparked a frantic search, they say, where this guy, the would-be assassin, gets up on a roof where he opened fire. I know this just so much Leo energy. And I am going to introduce, hey, KK, nice to see you. Joanna, I'm going to introduce a wild theory today, and your head's going to spin. I know that's probably not a good descriptor right now because we are in Algol and it represents the head, Mars and Uranus. I say Uranus. How do you say Uranus? A lot of people say it differently. Would you like me to say it differently? Because there have been some comments. Looking at the solar return for Trump, and you could see that Saturn moon there in his solar return. So it is kind of wild how it all turned out. Now, in the sky right now is Mars and Uranus. And what does that mean? It means Mars, man, Uranus on the roof in Algol. So, devil energy, demons, the demon on the roof. And I got a quick story for you. This is affecting everybody. Something just surprise happens. And thank you, KK. Um, I know. I mean, you could say Uranus, you could say Uranus. I like Uranus. Thank you, Miko. So, Tommy Gunn. Well, we could weave a conspiracy theory into this. Crazy photos we were not expecting. I think we were just all shocked. And it was hard to believe, like just seeing the blood on him. And then we see that photo of the bullet whizzing by him that I believe a photographer from the New York Times got. So there it is, Mars and Uranus. And a quick story, I was getting barbecue today. I came out, and this is an example of how things can just happen in 1 second. And so I get in my car and I didn't notice that there was somebody behind me walking. And as I'm pulling out, he's getting into his car and he opens up the door, and my rearview mirror, it kind of squeezed his hand, like he got it caught in the middle of his car door, and he was pissed. And so he like jammed his car up against mine. I didn't know he was going to open up the door as I'm pulling out. And it just came in like a shot. I mean, I couldn't believe, I was in shock that I felt bad for him, because it looked like he was in pain, but it wasn't my fault. So that's kind of an example of that Uranus energy where you don't know what's happening. It just creeps up on you in, a half a second. So yeah, it's scary. I know, Meg. Ugh. All right. So I've got a connection. I was chatting with Nora, our numerology subject matter expert, last night. And I just happened, we were laughing. We were texting back and forth. She's from New Zealand. I don't know what time it was there. And I told her, I was like, I don't know what it is, but I just put on Back to the Future tonight. And the last time I watched it was like, I think I was pretty young. And I mean, maybe even when I was a teenager. So it was interesting to watch it through the lens of astrology. And I was so shocked. So I'm going to circle back around to that and show you how I could connect it little bit to what is happening right now. Back to the Future. All right. Now, here is President Trump's 2024 progressed chart. Wow. Look at how the MC is in Leo, which is the king. Really, you're going to see words like king when it comes to President Trump. And check this out. When you see your progressed ascendant and it's coming in right in that first degree, he's changing. He's changing into, there's different surroundings. People around him are different. And remember what I was talking about with Scorpio. Remember the Kardashians. There's all of this stuff about sex and, even trash. But also murderers. Their friend, they went on vacation with OJ back in the day. So there's going to be some kind of, um, I guess, what would you call it? Just access or kind of an experience when it comes to a murderer or for him, a would be murderer. So, Angel D, we write back and forth, Angel. Hey, Bucky, I, Clay fan. Yes. So I was afraid of that actually. I was like, I looked behind me. I'm like, oh my God. Like I felt really bad because he looked like he was in pain, but he should have waited for me to pull out. I just didn't see him. Hey, Frankie, nice to see you. All right. So anyway, he's in that first degree. And what do they keep talking about when it comes to Trump? They say that he wants to get back in office and really exact revenge. So revenge could be on his mind. But at the moment, it's just trying to recover. Can you imagine what it's like in that hospital room? I'm assuming he's in a hospital room right now with his family, and they're all just relieved. But notice we've got a combination here of death, Saturn squaring Moon, and that's Moon in Scorpio. We've got a full moon in a few days, July 21st. It ain't over yet. This story is just started, and I wonder what your thoughts are for that. And if you think that this is the end of it. Now, so he's staring death in the face, basically. This is the death combination. And we've got so many planets in his 12th house. This is a lot of secrets, but it's a lot of hidden enemies too. And what we're going to look at is the sun. The sun is his career. How is it looking right now? Because we want the sun, which is the ruler of his MC anyway. We want it to look good if he wants to get into office, right? Some of us do, some of us don't. The sun is squaring this little combo right here, which is Black Moon Lilith. And this is South Node, which is the truth. It's scheming and it's the truth. So maybe kind of twisting the truth a little bit. So it looks like he is in a T square. And notice, you see Uranus there? Did I just say Uranus? Uranus squaring the sun. This is 8th house. This is a total shock to your body. Okay, so I'm going to move on because I've got a lot to go, and I have a guest I think is coming in, so I want to make sure she's not waiting too long. But remember that MC in Leo, we've got a king. So headlines coming out July. Does the Supreme Court ruling make the president a king? So I don't know if any of you noticed that. Stephen King is saying if Donald wins, you may call him King Trump the first. He'll like that. And the Guardian says, was Donald Trump a king as president? So lots of words, lots of headlines about Trump being a king. And if you start understanding the code, you start to put everything in a distance a little bit. You don't take things so personally. You understand that this is the way it's got to be right now. And yeah, we've got a king in our midst. So now this is Melania. This is her solar return chart. I'm just going to touch on this really quickly. And Jupiter represents a husband. Uranus represents a shock. So a shocked husband and opposing moon in Scorpio. So this is very difficult in her chart. She is Jupiter is also a huge shock, and it's right there in Algol, of course. It's in our solar return charts, many of us. For her, there is Neptune and Mars there. That's in Pisces. So somehow her husband was able to dodge the bullet. He basically, I mean, really, he is the symbol of dodging a bullet. And why not? He's got so much in Regulus, and Regulus is gold. It's the king. It's fortune. And some of us are very excited with our progress charts because some of our cusps start to move into the later degrees of Leo, and it's exciting sometimes. All right, so here's the crime chart from yesterday, and this is going to be really interesting to you. I'm sure some of you, actually, Nora pulled it before I did. That is a very good point. I didn't even think about that. Yep. Uh, yes, exactly. So, all right. So here's the crime chart, and Jupiter is the lord of the chart, but it's also the victim. So it's going to be Trump. Jupiter in the sixth. Now, what is Trump doing at this moment? Well, he's at a rally and he's talking to the media. He's also pointing up to the media as well, which they say saved his life because he happened to turn his head up to the Jumbotron. And so he's talking, he's working, he's in the sixth house of work. But Jupiter is in Gemini, which is two, which is twins. And so keep that in mind as we go forward. Also look at how the north node and the south node are in good aspect to him. He's able to walk away. When the nodes are squaring you, and he is the victim here, if you're in a square or an opposition, forget it. You're stuck. You're in trouble. And for him, that would be the case. So, Erin, you say, I have Leo, seventh house Regulus. Oh, so your partners probably have a lot of hair. Maybe hopefully they don't act like kings, but Tommy, you say, I've had this done a few times. There was never any mention of a crime chart. Hi, Eileen. No, I don't think you did, but we're going to do some cards tonight. And if you want to ask that, we can. I do think that there was more than one. And so here we go. Now, here we go. The seventh house Lord is in Gemini. And you know what I've said from the beginning, a Mercury actually rules the seventh house for the perpetrator here. And what is Mercury? Mercury is a thief. And what is the alleged assassin's name? Crook. And he is up here. And interesting too, how Mercury is in Leo. There's a lot of stuff in Leo in the eighth house. This is a man who they say has been bullied. So you're going to see some Leo when you see bullies. As I say, every sign has its pros and cons. And the one with Leo is that you could have it all. You could have the gold. You could be very, very powerful, but you still are going to have to endure some type of bullying in your life. Hey, Toy, nice to see you. Thank you, K1, Chrissy. People at the rally said the other perp got away in the tree line, allegedly. I did not hear that. Okay, Eileen, you say the deep state. Okay. I'm all about it. I want to hear all of your thoughts. But we got Mercury up here, which means two. Remember, we have Mars and Gemini for Brian Koberger, and we had two people in the news with the initials BK. So we'll see how that turns out. But eighth house, he dies. And it's really unusual too, because it's like he suddenly becomes very famous with the moon up here. Something tells me there's another aspect that I should have added on there, but doesn't look so good for him. There is a poor aspect to Saturn, which is death. So That's also a possibility. So keep this in mind. We've got an ascendant in Sagittarius. This is Trump. And Sagittarius types of profiles for victims are very big. It might have something to do with talking. Actually, what was he doing? He was talking about immigration. And so that would be Sagittarius. It would be talking about something foreign. All right, so there we go. There's Sagittarius. There's Gemini. And by the way, here's another thing you can do. Here is the victim. Look at the degrees behind the victim, which is here. And this is a man on a roof. He is aiming at the victim. So that's another thing you can do in these crime charts. Hopefully you can see that. But yeah, this is the man on the roof. And he's aiming at, the head. All right. So real quickly, John F. Kennedy, solar return chart. We've got May. This was his birthday, 1963. June, July, August, September, October, November. This is when he was shot. And so you can see it's all up here, and it's in Regulus too. We wouldn't say anything like Leo types of names would have anything to do with it, which would have the last name Son or sometimes Parker or something like that. But yes, we've got, they say it was the CIA. There are multiple people that were possibly involved in that, but you can see them all up here. And then they're in the late degrees of Leo. But check out his solar return chart descendant right on Algol. So it got his head. And here he is, Pluto right here. So this would be a famous Pluto, moon, famous murder or gunshot. So here you can see, if you can't see anything, look at Mars and Uranus together. This is a gunshot. Okay. So here's Trump's solar return chart. And I kept focusing, if you notice on my last show about him, I kept focusing on August, June, July, August. And Patricia, you say you have Uranus and Mars square my natal Mars in Aquarius right now. Yeah, you got to be careful. Okay, that's a theory. Hey, Penny D. I'm a Libra. I'm okay with it. Just tell me what you think. Yeah, I do too. I think the solar return of the victim makes a big deal per your teachings. And interesting you say that, because I was just introduced to a case, and from the mother of the victim, I received the birth information, and you could see that the victim was planning something with someone else in the months before the murder. So you really can't see that when you're looking at a crime chart. So it's always good to have the birth chart. All right, so this is June, July. So check this out. We have just the last few days of his first house here. Starts on his birthday. This is his new solar return chart. Every month is on the 14th. So for you, if your birthday's on the 21st or the 23rd, it would start on those days. I always like when the 21st comes around. I've got 7 more days and then new energy. I could use it. But for him, you can see how, everybody talks about, oh, it's intercepted. Oh, that house is intercepted. And it's like, what the hell does that mean? Well, in the solar return chart, it means that that's when the energy during that month, for him, the 14th to the 14th, is going to change. So his moon, he's going to have a moon that rules that month. And then the last few days, the sun comes in and it rules his month. Just the last few days. So July 13th is right in there. And then you look here and the sun is here. Isn't it interesting that This is part of this T-square. Okay. Got Saturn here. Death. Okay. It's a plan. It's an evil plan. And I say that because of Black Moon Lilith, which is a schemer. And there's a few people in here. Now, keep in mind, we've got Crook, which is Mercury. So Crook is one of them. And I kept talking about a blonde woman too. So I'm not sure who that is. This was in the last show. This was before he was shot. So, but I did focus. I missed this. I focused on the third house, which is August 14th. I kept saying August 14th to September 14th, but this house was really what started the sun. And actually, it was the first. It was the last few days of the first when the sun, like bam, it suddenly activated. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a couple of things. You're looking at the Lord of the house is going to activate. And you're also looking at if there are any planets in that house and what they are aspecting. So, wow, wow, wow. And sun is Trump's body. And you can see how he was wounded. There's a wound here. It's a sextile, so could be a flesh wound. Maybe that's what it means. But that Gemini it's pretty interesting. Now, the reason I put this arrow here in the fifth house, it is because I want to see what's going to affect him because Algol's coming in again. All right. It's going to come in here, but there's an opposition in this month. So this is August, I think. Wait. No, this is August. September. So this is September. October is a very dangerous month for him. My thought is that Gemini might mean 2 attempts. What do you think? I think that it's not over. I think there could be a second assassination attempt, and not just with Trump. There could be a second assassination attempt with someone else. It's going to be one of those seasons. Now, this is out of the blue, but isn't it weird how not only was I watching Back to the Future last night, but I was also watching for like the 4th time that documentary on the missing flight MH370. And I just happened to be pulling the chart around, I think it was about an hour before the assassination. And look at how it's almost the same in the sense of the ascendant. And there's also Gemini in there too. And the reason that I even put this in here was because there was a second crash that was a Malaysian. It was a second Boeing 777 after the first Malaysian crash. I'm getting chills. It's weird. It's weird. And I think that we should keep an eye on that. And since I already have the chart here, Jupiter is the plane. And look at how there is a trine to Pisces. When you see so much Pisces, what words are you going to be hearing? Vanished, missing. It's missing. It's still missing. Is it missing? It vanished. It disappeared. That's all you're going to hear when there's that Pisces there. Trust me, I know. So let's look back at the crime chart. And we've got some Pisces here. Again, let's see. The sun in this chart is the press. It's also the court. Saturn is security. So this could be Secret Service. Secret Pisces went missing. Or the assassin went missing. But it seems like we might hear some more words that are missing, or that are like missing. Let me see. I think I have. Oh, Christy's in the house. All right, I'm going to try to wrap this up real quick. Christy is going to talk to us a little bit. She really got into astrology in the last 2 years, and her story is a little bit wild. So I thought you should hear it. So she called in. Now, all right. So I'm watching Back to the Future. This is crazy. You're gonna think I'm a nut, but you already do. So, and Marty McFly. This is literally 30 minutes before President Trump gets shot. And at least, well, maybe 30 minutes before I hear he gets shot. But anyway, Marty McFly is talking to his girlfriend. And I think her last name was Parker. And it was at this scene, which is really in the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, that's Leo. And so I kind of just made a note about it. Now, keeping in mind, it's my first time watching this since knowing astrology in my adult life. So then Biff comes along, and I'm like, oh, wow, this really is a Leo type of movie. There's a bully in here. So, because there's always going to be bully themes, right? So then I watch this scene, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Get a grip on yourself. It's all a dream. It's just a very intense dream.
Lion Estates. Are you kidding me? So I'm like, okay, this is seriously. And then I started really thinking about it. And then I was like, well, wait a minute, there's a car. So that's Gemini. Then he goes to Twin Pines Mall. And I'm like, what is up with Twin? That's Gemini. And then I started thinking about how Michael J. Fox, he's suffering from Parkinson's now. So it was kind of like an omen for him and what affects his body. He starts to stoop over his spine, an indicator that he had this disease because of a tremor in his pinky. This is Michael J. Fox's birth chart, but Gemini and Leo seem to run together. If you've got Leo, if you've got a king, you've got Gemini, you've got two princes, you've got something that has a double component that's part of the equation. And so, isn't that interesting how Leo is back and Uranus is to the future, back to the future? But it's all in his code. The only problem is for him, he's got Black Moon Lilith in there, and that's a disease. So, and it's part of a group of planets. So, and interestingly enough, when he found out he had Parkinson's, he was 20, he was when he found out he was in when he found out that he had Parkinson's, he was 29 years old. And that is the number for Regulus. That's the king. So we've got all of this stuff going on. Now, do a search. I'm getting into medical astrology, and then I'm going to just circle back around to Trump one more time, and then we're going to bring in Christie. But there's something I believe, I'm going to look it up. It is Parkinson's. It was like Discovery Award 1 mutation, 2 diseases. I think that's what it was. Hang on. Yeah. This is from Brandeis. Parkinson's is a twin disease. So it's like, it's either Gaucher disease or something like that. But anyway, I thought, wouldn't it be interesting once you have like this code for Leo and Gemini, then you should be looking in those areas for clues. So maybe you're looking in the back, maybe you're looking in the heart, maybe you're looking for twin types of clues. Now with Trump, you've got lots of Leo, so you're going to have Gemini. And that to me means they're going to be looking for a second shooter. They're going to be looking for two things, and there could be another assassination attempt. So you really have to be careful. You really got to be careful. All right. So, oops. Hang on one second. And I'm going to bring in Christy. Are you guys enjoying the pool party? I hope so. It's kind of a weird pool party. There's not a lot to be celebrating. Parkinson's. It's been like many years, and they're just now getting this information in. So, hey, Taurus Moon Tarot, good to see you. And thank you so much. I know, but isn't it interesting? Oh, and then the whole thing with Trump, the assassin, of course, was bullied. I mean, it's not that unique, people. We can easily figure this out as long as we know the clues and the code. Thanks, Angel T. I know. So that's what we're going to do from now on. When we're looking for clues, we are going to be looking for Gemini too. So I am going to invite Christy and hopefully, hey, Christy, nice to hear from you.
Hi, Val, and everybody in the chat.
Well, we have been talking about a lot of different things tonight, and I know you've been listening in. It's kind of wild, isn't it?
Oh, very.
I mean, from Trump to Back to the Future. And the fact that I was always looking at Back to the Future, I always knew Uranus was in there because it was future, but then I forgot. Back is in the title. So it's interesting to look at those things when it comes to Leo. And every time we do a deep dive, especially at pool parties, we are going to find some kind of clue. So we are talking tonight because you found some clues with some of the things that you were looking at when it came to your life. You were looking at your solar return. We were looking at your transit chart. And
Yeah,
I thought that maybe you might give us an idea of what your mindset was when you first started thinking about astrology and wanting to give it a shot.
absolutely. So I was introduced to you when I watched you on about the Idaho 4 case. And I became just very intrigued. And I know everybody thinks that they're your biggest fan, but I feel I'm your biggest fan. I adore
Of
you.
course. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, and I reached out to you and I wanted to do a reading, and I was in a very, very dark place in my life. I had been married 20 years, and the marriage was going very, very badly. And I knew that my husband had secrets, but I wasn't sure what was going on. And I did a reading with you, and it was absolutely life changing um, because you had brought to light some clues, some things to look for. And there was one statement that you had said was your husband has a secret and it's going to come out. And I was having a hard time divorcing him because it had been 20 years of marriage. It had not been all bad, but things had gone bad in the end. And I kept asking him, well, what is this secret? Is it gambling? Is it drinking? Is it this, that?
I know that
And
was brave of you to ask him.
I was desperate and
Mhm.
desperate to save the marriage. Well, come to find out how accurate these readings are so eerie. But it came
I know.
to fruition, and he was embezzling money.
It's amazing. It's
It
amazing.
is. And I was able to get a divorce and be out in time, to reclaim my life. And astrology has helped me. Now I do, yearly or every 6 month readings, and I plan my whole year and I write down important dates. And I mean, I will never go time, without it because it's been ridiculously accurate.
It really has. And one thing that we were looking at was Neptune, and there was an opposition with Jupiter. which can show that there's some type of act where they can move without boundaries. Sometimes it just means deception. And so
Mhm.
I had not just seen that, but I believe Jupiter was going over your natal black moon Lilith. And then there
Yes.
was another Neptune aspect as well. And so it was like, whoa, what's happening? And it was interesting. You had gotten your husband to talk a little bit too. So it was that was a
Yes.
whole interesting session in itself. He must have felt like he was
It
on the hot
was.
seat. What
I
are you
think he
hiding?
did. Yes, I think, and you had also said your name is going to be basically like in the papers or something. And he had said, "Oh, I hope it's good." Well,
For
it wasn't, but it was like having information before it came out. It helped me so much because I could kind of prepare. And when I saw these things were happening, then it gave me the courage, knowing, well, I know in this month this is going to happen. And you had actually told me recently that I would be going through some court cases at the end of the summer, and I was thinking, oh no, things are going well. Well, it ended up I had to evict him from our home, and it I had to go to trial, and so everything was so I don't doubt anything anymore. I just write it down, I put it in my calendar, and then I just, kind of look for what's gonna happen and prepare myself. It has made life so much more comforting for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And it is so, I think it's a brave act, really, to see something ahead of time and taking action. And when you had done that, I was like, wow, like you really put your faith in astrology. And I think it helped you. It kind of moved you along a little bit faster, maybe than, I guess you just didn't second guess it. You just pushed along and you made things happen. And
It's unbelievable that it truly saved me that I got out, honestly, just in time before all the downfall happening, where it ended up, with all of his lawsuits and this and that, that I wouldn't be connected, because of course I knew nothing, absolutely nothing about any of this. He
that's
had
right.
hidden. I feel like I was married to, like, this person that had this second life, that I honestly had no idea that he was such a good chameleon and showed me such a different life. I didn't even believe it, but that they're blatantly true. And even as of tonight, I saw something on Facebook where people were looking for him, saying, "Does anybody know where this person is?" And so there's this, you know, um, downfall every single day that I'm finding something. And I was just so thankful that I'm free from that, and I
Good.
can move on with my life, and I can look out for my daughter and I am extremely thankful.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And Miss Kay says, Christy, it's brave. I'm glad it helped you accept
Thank
the
you.
situation so you could process it. Sometimes astrology can show you things that are happening ahead that you can look forward to. And
Yes.
you don't have that big weight around your neck. So good that you could finally put it behind you. So
Yes, and when we did our next reading, everything was, so much brighter, and I have felt so happy and secure, and, like the second half of my life is going to be, beautiful. And so I just thank you so much for
absolutely.
everything.
Thank you, Christy, and I look
Yes.
forward to talking with you again. I talk with you often, and
Yes.
it's great to know what your part of the country is doing. You're way
Thank
north of me.
you.
Now, it's like 100 degrees here. It's nice up there in Montana.
Thank
So,
you.
well, thank you again for reaching out, and I guess I'll just finish up
Absolutely.
with a few tarot cards, but I'll
Yes,
give you.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll give you a buzz later. Bye bye. All right. So we're going to do, that was so nice of her. And I don't like necessarily testimonials or anything like that, which is always nice, but it's more like, wow, how this person would just take this chart and really put all of their faith in it. And the the fact is that because she put that faith in it, she had a window, and she just went for it, and it really helped her out. So astrology can help sometimes when that's the case. So now what I'm going to do is, oh, Amber is in the house. And thank you for saying that, Amber. That was really sweet of you. Um, all right. So I'm going to do some cards. And I guess we should get back to Trump a little bit, thinking that, there's more than there's a group here. There's a group. I don't think it's necessarily too conspiracy related, but I think that we are going to see possibly a second assassination attempt. I hope we don't. And obviously, we're going to see maybe a second person that's involved in this. So, would you guys like me to ask any specific question? Hey, Heather, nice to see you. I know. I know. I haven't heard from you, Heather. Oh my gosh. So, I know, Shauna, I'm going to read this one. The way Val teaches us on reading solar returns, many astrologers do not read them the way she does. I've talked about astrologers are like, what? I'm like, yes, month to month, it works. And it really does. You have to learn how to read it though. Like you could see that I thought there was going to be a lot going on in August for Trump, which I think there is, but it was the sun was activated for 2 months, and July was one of those months. So you have to pay close attention. Sometimes I think to myself, well, it's not going to happen until August, but you really have to look at the details and say, you know what, here's how it's going to work out. It could happen in that first birthday month of yours. And to your point, Shauna, I have never seen this method, and I'm sure it's somewhere. Some ancient guy figured this out, or there's an astrologer that I don't know about that uses it like this. But to be able to deep dive month to month in your solar return chart is pretty neat. And if you have a solar return chart which you don't like, you can always go. You're like, I would like another solar return chart, please. You can always go to solar return and your birth chart, and you can see more aspects coming in. You might not be able to read it month to month, but you can see where you can get some help. Look for the blue lines. Heather, I'm glad. And Amber, you say, I've always felt August. I'm curious to see your cards. Okay. So, let's look at August. We were talking, Amber, you and I were talking about the fact that you thought that there was going to be some type of a July event. But we were talking about the royals, and I was talking about a gunshot. We are talking about a king, but let's talk about, let me ask, is there going to be another assassination attempt before the election? Okay. All right, Angel D, we'll read them together. Okay. Oh, it looks like a no. Knight of Pentacles. Okay, that's a good thing. All right. So I just need a confirmation, guys. That's a no, right? No more assassinations this season. So what's the Gemini? Why does it keep doing that? Okay. Thanks, Angel D. Yeah, I had to cancel because I had to get ready for this show. Amber, you're having a girl dinner. That's good. I hope there's wine or not. All right, so how about a second card? Sometimes Knight of Pentacles is the situation now, but can you clarify about a second assassination before the election? King of Swords. Okay, so We get this card with Koberger. So this could be something that has to do with a weapon, uh, but there's somebody in charge here. Thanks, Shauna. Yeah, there's somebody in charge here. It looks like a weapon. Ooh, I don't like that owl. Oof, get that off of there. And then there's a raven on the top. Yikes. Um, okay, so as far as the assassination, Amber, you say not soon is what I read that as. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put these aside. And do you put them aside or do you put them back in? That's what I want to know. And now I'm going to ask, and I've asked this before, but is Biden going to step down? Is Biden going to step down? Ace of Swords. I think that he's going to go as far as he can before he gets pulled off the, the podium. So I think there's a strong energy that says he's going to stay put. So all right, and what is going to happen to the public, the American public, in the next 8 weeks? And I'm including Mercury retrograde in the middle of that. You know how that's chaos and chaotic stuff. Toy, you don't think he's going anywhere? A mosque owl. What's a mosque owl? I don't know what that is. Okay. Insights with Nora. Thank you, Nora. Ace of Swords is change for the best. Oh, great. Okay, well, that gives us a lot of information. Like, change for the best. A lot of people think it's one way or the other. So what do you think, Nora? What's the change for the best? We are living in a time right now where we just can't think about this. We got to let this energy move on. It's kind of like the late 60s, don't you think? Where it's just like, yuck, get me out of this decade. Although I think we just got into this decade. No, I'm not saying that about you, Nora. I'm just saying that about the card. Like, you got to give us more information about than that. So whatever's best, tell us a little bit more about Biden. How about a clarifier card? Hangman reversed. So that's stalling. That's what, I know that from the royals. That's King Charles right now. He's stalling. Thank you, Toy. Trying to squash the bug, but it's a small bug, so that's good. It looks harmless, but it looked kind of weird. I was saging, so I left the window open for a little while. Anyway, okay, I can't really mark this up, but there's an opposition with the 10th and the 4th. So what are we going to do? Let's look at the 10th house lord, and that's going to be Venus. Venus is here, right in the 11th house of hopes and dreams. And Mars is right on Venus. Venus is trining Neptune. Jupiter going through your 10th, though, tends to be pretty lucky. But the moon is pulling it down. Moon is, North Node is to gain. He keeps gaining using his words. Oh, and by the way, Elon Musk is here. Uranus is Elon Musk right here. But there's something here. So we want to see what's opposing Jupiter, and that's the moon. So we look to see what the moon represents. And that would be, it could be social media. Let's go to his solar arc. Remember, I was looking at the Trump chart for Ivanka, and I saw all that Scorpio, and then there was another one that had a lot of Aquarius. And I'll bet you, I was like, oh, there's a lot of data. Well, that was Elon Musk. And so he is doubling down on Trump here. Venus down there in the 4th. You see that? Conjunct moon. That is a famous woman. And she is, maybe that's Melania. But he is the sun. And it's a Leo rising. And so the sun, it just looks like something is bringing him down. It could be Melania not wanting to go to the White House. And she's like, guess what? I'm not up for this. I don't want a shot. So there's definitely something pulling him from doing what he wants to do. Shauna, you're giving me a bug timestamp. I love it. Well, bugs are Mars. Remember McFly? Well, McFly is Mercury because fly is small, but bugs with like a stinger. Actually, I like Mars and Mercury together for bugs because they're small and they got stingers, or they're sharp. Now let's go to solar arc directions, and this is something I said in my last. Sorry if I repeat myself, but this is July 2024, and you can see Pluto here. Right here. Third house is local districts. These are the states, I think. It's the third house. And Pluto is going in the third, and it is squaring Saturn. And so this is his hopes and dreams, his responsibility in life. He's having a trouble here. Now let's go back to 2016. And it was quite a different chart. There was a trine here to Uranus. This was Uranus plus Pluto. That is a huge shock. Huge. So, but in a good way because it's a trine. So it really helped his 10th house. So things, everybody right now is saying like Elon, all the newspapers, news outlets, Joe Rogan probably, like they're all saying he's got it in the bag. Well, astrology is saying, not so fast. So let me know what you think. I use the solar return. I also use the solar arc. Solar arc is probably the most ancient way you can do that. But we look at the solar return. Let's look at Biden's, and then I've got to go. I'm dog sitting tonight. I've got to go and feed dogs. Biden birth chart. All right. And I'm going to look. I'm so glad, Shauna, that you told me that you're talking to other astrologers because I think it really takes a village when it comes to discovering the solar return chart. So this is Biden's chart, and this is his solar return 2024. And I've already done this show for him. I'm going to do another one though. And I want to do Washington, D.C., unless he's been over in Europe, then I don't have the right chart, but let's just say Washington. And yeah, so he's got a Scorpio ascendant this year, Scorpio rising. If you have a Scorpio rising, a lot of people can be jealous of you. There's jealousy, revenge, and betrayal. So sometimes that's good. It's like, you're going to get something. So let's see where his Pluto is. Pluto's down here in the third house. This is like a lot of the states, the third house of states. And there's a trine with Uranus. So it looks good. It looks good for him. This is Algol. But we've got Mars at the top with an opposition to Pluto. This is probably the biggest thing. And let's look at oh, wait a minute. Shoot. This is November 19th. So we should probably look at November 2023 because it's going to go into 2024. Okay. This is the T-square I was talking about. T-square Saturn moon. This is death, Biden's solar return chart. Okay, so let's start counting. We've got November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Okay, so he's crossed the May threshold. June, July. Okay, July 20th to August 20th. this is a month where you want a lot of security because you've got Chiron up there. Let's put a aspect on Chiron. Maybe a couple other ones too. Yeah, look at that T-square. Yikes. So Mars is going to rule that one, and it's down. So there is going to be some kind of big surprise, and that's going to be. So you're going to go. I think it's August. I said, but November 20th. So November, December 20th, January 20th, February, March, April, May, June, July 20th to August 20th. Okay. He gets something in this month, which would be the North Node. Okay. Okay. It's going to be August 20th to September 20th. You've got Uranus here, and this is a huge shock. So what's really interesting is he has the same thing that is in Melania's solar return chart that has to do with her husband, which is this point of Thales to Neptune. So they're able to escape, they're able to disappear, they're able to hide, something like that. So I guess before we go, we should ask what's going on with Biden between what did I say? August 20th to September 20th. God. All right. Oh, let me see. Let me make sure that I've got my other camera on. See what you guys are saying too. You said no. This is the Biden chart for 23-24. So I was just counting into 2024. Sorry, Toy. Okay, Jacqueline, that's a good question. I'm going to ask that. Is the name Washington a Capricorn name? That is a really good question. I think yes, because it's the oldest president. He looked old, although Washington could be Pisces or Neptune too. There can always be a hybrid. So that's a very good question. Toy, did you get to see? Should I go back to that page one more time so you could see it? But what is that Uranus? Let me see. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, it's because I didn't put the right page on. You can see the Uranus up at the top. So this is August 20th to September 20th. That's when Uranus kicks in that month. And it's right in Algol territory. And there's T-squares. This is going to be a tough, tough month. But he has an outlet. He's able to escape. He's able to disappear. I wonder if that's Russia. Russia's helping him so that he gets in there and then loses. Because, Russia doesn't want him being president again. But, all right. So can you see that? Uranus at the top. This is what we're asking the question about for the tarot cards. Yeah. Okay. So with regard to Biden, that period with Uranus between August 20th and September 20th, can you give us more information? Four of Pentacles. Okay. So can you give us some more information? Can you clarify this? We are on August 20th to September 20th when Uranus kicks in for Biden's chart. Can you give us more information on this Uranus? Seven of Swords. So something, not being able to steal away with something. Not being able to, somebody's sneaking away with something, not being able to steal the election. I don't know. One more clarifier card when it comes to that Uranus in his 10th house. This is Uranus in Joe Biden's 10th house in that 2 terrible T-squares. What does this mean? 4 of Wands, reversed. Party's over. Something about the party, maybe. Could be that the party's done with him. And this could be something, I almost feel like it could be a sabotage thing. Shauna, you're so funny. Complacent to truth. Yeah. Thankfully, it didn't. Did it show a bug? I don't think it did. Well, it does look like a bug. Hold on one second. Now it fell. I think it was. No, they're ravens. Yeah, they're ravens. 7 of Swords reversed. So I think that the party, could it be, it might have something to do with the convention. The convention completely turns over, and maybe somebody's coming in. But if he stays in, the charts are saying he can still win. I mean, don't ask me. Don't shoot the messenger. So anyway, thank you for all of you who are listening, all 128 of you. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and also consider joining my channel. It helps me deliver more content to you. I will be on this week. We're going to talk about some crimes. I wanted to get to Caleb tonight, but I couldn't. I thought ravens were Scorpio. Thank you, Angel D. Toy. You guys are so sweet tonight. Thanks for all your kind words. Beach Butterfly, nice to see you. And have a great night, guys. And just take it easy. We're just watching and eating our popcorn and hoping that this summer goes by where we are calm. We are the calm ones. And the next thing that comes up, you can be sure to tune in. So thanks again.